Can you tell us a little bit about the album artwork?
Yeah, I had to push away these pigeons about 100 times until we had the best picture. And this chair is a symbol for having a moment of rest and of inner thinking in a place where you would not expect it. Stadtstille means city silence, and it's an artificial word that I made up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Stadt is city and Stille is silence. And fortunately, the award was given in Berlin Philharmonic Hall, which was also a big dream of mine to play there one day with my own music. I've been singing there as a boy in the Berlin Concert Choir. So in 2018, these two dreams came to reality on one day.
Hello, Create Like You family. My name is Kelsey Lee Kate, and I want to welcome you today to the Create Like You podcast. It's a place to get inspired and to hear stories from really wonderful people who are professionals in their industry in various art forms. And today I have the special privilege of introducing you to a friend of mine who I'm speaking with from Berlin, Germany. Welcome to the podcast, Christoph. How are you today?
Hello, Kelsey Lee. I'm really feeling great. Being in your show the first time.
So happy you're with us. So I would like to introduce you to my listeners here. Christoph Pagel was born in 1971 in Berlin, Germany, and he loves his city. At a young age, the lessons by Professor Dr. Franz Reimer, a contemporary composer, laid the foundation for his creations. In 2001, he decided to go full-time with music, and in 2005, after releasing his third album, Nacht 1, he decided to make a move toward contemporary piano. Music from Piano Dreams Volume 1, which he made in 2008, was played regularly at classic radio in Germany. His videos on YouTube received more than 1 million views, and his Spotify users in 100 countries are listening. Christoph was the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award by Enlightened Piano Radio, or EPR, in 2016, and his album Stadtstille won the award Album of the Year in 2018. He has played as a pianist and composer in many countries, but especially loves to be in his hometown at pianos in the Adlon or Savoy Hotel, in piano bars, at weddings, and churches. Right before we started recording, we were talking about how much you love your city. Would you share, just give us a snapshot of what does Berlin mean to you?
Well, Berlin is a universe of everything. You have people from 180 nations, I think, and we have so many different places here, forests, even in a big city, not just a park like the Central Park, but even bigger parks and forests. We have rivers here, we have crowded streets, but you can also go to places where it's very silent, and it is just an amazing and interesting place where I want to be.
Are there different parts of Germany that feel different from one another?
Yes, I can say that I went to all other countries, especially until about 5 years ago. But then because of environmental reasons and finally because of worldwide problems with this virus and lockdowns that we had, we discovered Germany so much more because since you could not go to another country with the airplane, you would just take your car and go to a nice place inside the country, and we discovered so many things, and there's still a lot I want to visit.
How long does it take to drive from one part of Germany to the other?
If you start at the coast, in the northern part, at the Baltic Sea, from, for example, Rostock, and you want to go down to Bavaria, to the Schloss Neuschwanstein, for example, then you will probably need more than 10 or 12 hours. But Germany is not very big. I mean, many US states are bigger than Germany if you look at the size.
Well, and just to connect the dots for my friends listening, how we met originally was both of us are part of Whispering's piano radio network of pianists from all over the world. Christoph, can you explain how we connected originally through Facebook and then how we came to have this conversation today?
Well, we have been talking about different music issues, and then I came up asking you if I could send you a big bunch of CDs of mine, and if we could do something together, music-wise, to bring this to your audience, maybe together with a CD of yours, which was actually your idea to my idea, I think, to make a bundle from this. So that's how it
Yes.
started.
This is the very first time that I am partnering with another artist, you guys, to be able to offer you some music from another part of the world. We wanted to be able to provide a way for you to still be able to have a personalized greeting from Christoph within this bundle. And then I will also be including my CD. I'll be autographing it for you as well. So we'll share more about that a little bit toward the end, but we also are going to be featuring Christoph sharing some excerpts from these CDs in this broadcast, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you. First, before we get started with sharing your music, Christoph, you had mentioned in your bio that at a young age, learning from this contemporary composer laid the foundation for your creations. And I was curious if you could talk a little bit more about your introduction and the way that you got started and first were inspired with music.
I was playing music already after church services in a Catholic church where my mom family went to when I was very young. No one really discovered my talent. Only when my sister wanted to play piano, we found a very old piano for 80 German marks, which is about $60 today. It was really cheap, old and cheap. And we got that one, and the transport was even more expensive, and we had it at the house. And whenever I would come home, I would play on that thing. And since my sister wanted lessons, I wanted lessons too. And we started to do that. And I was about 9 years old. And we had a teacher who was not very interested in us as students. She ate her bread, and I don't know, she was kind of a frustrated person who used to have concerts but didn't anymore, and she had to do this job to survive. But then when I was 13, I had this composer as a teacher, and he was really seeing this talent that I have to create music myself, that I had melodies in my mind, and that I had tried already how the tones fit together. So basically a lot of the chord change ideas were already been discovered by myself, just trying around and seeing that it works and that it sounds good together. And he told me, well, if you want, we can have normal classical lessons, but if you want, we can also have half of the time with all the composing rules, and I can teach you this. And I said, oh yeah, absolute great idea, as long as I don't have to do your kind of music, because he is composing this really wild 12-tone music, which does not sound nice to me.
What an opportunity.
Yeah.
When he was teaching you how to compose, is that also, did he teach you how to write music on a score, how to arrange for other instruments?
I learned how to write notes from him, and especially I learned about all the aspects of composition, about how a melody can be led, and how you can come to a peak and come down again, and how you can use the chords, and how you can move your left hand in the way to accompany your melody. These kind of things. That's what he did, and that's what I'm doing today with my students as well. So whenever I see someone has a talent for that, I will also try to teach him or her these things. And that's so neat about teaching, to have something yourself that you have just gotten and received, and then you can hand it on to someone else.
Yeah, so how special. So when you started really feeling like you had a champion for that gift in you, how did you feel as a young person as you were working with him and learning how to release those melodies in you? What was that like for you?
Especially, it was a big honor for me to realize that someone who was a professor, a doctor and professor in music, that he would see this in me, and that he would give me a providence insight to get there, to get ahead with that. And before then, seldomly people would really say more than, oh, nice, what you're doing, okay. It did not tell me anything, because I thought they are just being nice to me. But
Hmm.
there was not any measuring scale that I
Mm-hmm.
had up to that time. If this is just fun fooling around with some tones, or if that is something profound that I have inside,
Mm-hmm.
and if I can express
Mm-hmm.
that in a way that it will be suitable for others and also for myself.
Hmm. Oh, how neat to be able to have someone that lived in that world and can provide you
Mm,
that feedback
mm,
and to give you a frame of reference within his world and in his experience. I've experienced that too. And to have feedback from folks who I admire and hearing their, sometimes for me, the constructive criticism, I really appreciated those friends and pianists colleagues that I really look up to who listened. They took the time and then say, "Hey, you should consider doing this." And so I did, and then it made my work that much stronger, and I wouldn't have known
mm,
um, without
mm.
having that community, those artists. And so, what a great way to be able to collaborate and learn from him. Are you still in contact with him?
Mhm. I recently Googled him, as we say in German. I don't know if you say that the same way. I searched him in the internet, and then I found out that he is teaching now in Heidelberg, and he has his own kind of music school or whatever. I don't know.
Wow.
And yeah, because I am publishing a new sheet book at the moment, and I mentioned him there, so I wanted to know, is he still there or not? Yeah, and he
Yeah.
is.
Oh, how neat. Well, you also had mentioned Enlightened Piano Radio, and I was wondering if you could share a little bit. What does a Lifetime Achievement Award or an Album of the Year award mean for those of us who've never heard of that before?
Well, the Life Achievement Award was a big surprise to me when I got that. We were on a cruise to Mexico from New Orleans, and actually, I wanted to win Best Jazz Album with my CD Crystal P Live 2014, the one that you have there, the green one.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I got second behind John Paris, who's really an excellent jazz piano player and composer. And so I was disappointed. I was disappointed. But the last category on that day was, oh yes, but we have another award. It's a Lifetime Achievement Award. I had seen in Carnegie Hall the year before that they had an award of that category, but it was for the founder, Donovan Johnson, and so I didn't expect that there would be such an award for me. It is made for people who have been doing a lot for music and trying to bring people together and linking people and trying to get music ahead. And that's the reason why I got this award, because Donovan Johnson and other people from the board had the opinion that I'm worth it. No, my English is not perfect.
Yes.
That I've earned it. No. Anyway, and this other award is Album of the Year is given in different categories. Um, like yeah, no, Album of the Year is like the best album of the year that is um, in a time span of the year. It has to have been published in this year of a lifespan before the award was given. And there are some other categories like Best New Artist and all this kind of stuff. But Album of the Year was a category where I thought my CD Stadtstille might have a chance. Stadtstille means city
Mm-hmm.
silence. And
Mm-hmm.
it's an artificial word that I made up for places
Oh,
where,
really?
yeah, it says Stadt is city and Stille is silence. And Stadtstille is a
Oh.
word that I made up, putting these two
Mm-hmm.
together, because there are such amazing places in the city, especially in my city, where you are right at the heart, somewhere where a lot of things are happening, and you go just a few mm, yeah, minutes or even seconds to another street, and there is silence all of a sudden. and it's calm and a place where you can sit on a bench and watch everything and just relax. And these places have been very interesting for me and for my wife, who's a photographer and also a communication designer. And so we had this project together for 5 years, where we have been searching these places. She took photographs of it. I did create the music, and this is like the biggest album project I've ever done. So fortunately, it was finished during this lifespan before the award time. And fortunately, the award was given in Berlin Philharmonic Hall, which was also a big dream of mine to play there one day with my own music. I've been singing there as a boy in the Berlin concert choir. And so in 2018, these two dreams came to reality on one day.
Oh, I have chills. That's so cool. In your work, you have a varied sense of texture. You have solo piano. You have solo piano with cello, and in fact, you're talking about creating words. I noticed that you have cello one. Here, I'll show you. For those of you who are watching on the podcast, he has this is part of Piano Volumes 2. He has cello 1, the cello one, right? Is that how you say it? I thought that was witty.
It's also an artificial word because it's the first album with cello 1.
Yeah, that's very clever. I liked that. It was cool. I think this would be a really great time to insert one of the recordings that you've made for us of some of your music. And so let's start with Stadtstille. And you shared a little excerpt of one of your songs. So let's go ahead and enjoy that together now.
Excerpt from my album Stadtstille.
Lovely, Christoph. Thank you very much. And for those of you who are watching, this is what Stadtstille's album art looks like. And I'm curious, what's the story with the orange chair that you have here on the cover? And the scene is that it's this chair with a brick background, and then you see the city in the background, and then you see pigeons in the foreground. Yeah. What can you tell us a little bit about the album artwork?
Yeah, I had to push away these pigeons about 100 times until we had the best picture. And this chair is a symbol for having a moment of rest and of inner thinking in a place where you would not expect it. And so we brought this chair to different places in the city, to a nightly train station, to a little lake that is right in the heart of the city where it's very silent and calm, and other places. And so on this brick place there is no one except of the pigeons. But behind this train station that you see on the left of this cover, there is like the most crowded place that you can imagine of a city of 3.5 million people, inhabitants. Yeah, and also to the other sides, it's really city life.
Well, interesting. And yeah, that's a really neat photo opportunity. And that color, the orange, just pops in there. Cool. Well, the next excerpt I'd like to share with you folks is from his very first album, which I'll pull out here too. And actually, Christoph, you first had your artist name as Christoph P. I was curious, is there a story behind that?
Absolutely. This was my first album, not in general, but first album with piano solo. And I still had an artist name that I had as a rap musician. When I was younger, I was doing a lot of rap, especially with Christian content and trying to bring people some values because so much in rap is about having party and doing stupid stuff and thinking about big cars and money and so on. And I wanted to do something else there in this area and reach young people with this especially. And so my artist name, Christoph P, is a shortcut of Christoph Pagel on one hand, but also it is a little tribute to Christo. Christo and Jean-Claude are these great artists who packed the Reichstag and the Champs-Élysées, Arc de Triomphe, and many other places with paper. And I'm packing my messages into the rap words. And by now, I'm packing most of my messages into piano music. So at first, at this album, I still thought it's a good idea to keep this artist name because people know me with this artist name. And even as a rapper, I was on stage with piano and rapping at the same time. So why should I not keep this artist name? But then more and more people I met in this scene of great piano artists, they have their normal names, their civil names, so to say. And I thought, well, I'll go with that because I'm not a rapper anymore. It's not my. I like to do rap, but not so much on stages anymore.
I had no idea. That's fun. That's really fun.
Yeah.
Do you still ever rap just for fun at home?
Yeah, with my son because he's an excellent beatboxer. And we've been on stages together. We even won the third prize of a competition for songwriters in Berlin a few years ago.
Oh my goodness.
But I haven't been doing so much with him recently.
Piano Dreams Volume 1 was actually my first real piano album. And I want to play excerpts from Schönheit des Augenblicks, which means beauty of the moment, and Lichtung nach dem Regen, field after the rain.
And I want to play your next excerpt from Piano Dreams Volume 2. And this is the cello one. And I would love all of you to take a listen to all of these albums, but this one in particular touches my heart because it reminds me of playing with my sister Kaylee growing up. She's a cellist as well. And I'm curious, how did you meet this cellist? And did you write all of the accompaniments that this cellist is playing, or how did that develop?
Well, I met Juliane through some concerts that I've been to or social media. I don't even remember. I had been working with her for some live gigs, and I gave her sheet music to play that. And in the studio, I added more, so we ended up having 7 tracks that we could use for the album. And yeah, I cut it all together. Sometimes there were good ideas, and then I would take this excerpt there or there. But basically, all was written down by me. Other musicians that I work with, they create more their own melodies. After working with her, I worked with Christoph Pagel, and he is an amazing cellist who builds his own electric cellos. And
oh my goodness!
yeah, he can build instruments, and he goes through Berlin with his bike. It has a little hangar at the end of his bike where he has his cello in, and then he goes to gigs and plays on the street sometimes. And he has different
Wow.
effects to it. He does a lot of tango stuff, South American style music. He has electronic beats and everything in it, and it's really interesting. And so when I played with him, it was the other extreme because I would give him a sheet and say, well, do it like here on the album, please, please, a little bit at least, you know. And he would recognize the song, but it would be maybe 10% of my material, 90% of his improvisational stuff. So it's interesting to work with both extremes.
Absolutely. Very interesting. Well, friends, now I'm going to play you this excerpt that Christoph recorded for us from Piano Dreams Volume 2, Cello 1. Please enjoy.
An excerpt from the album Piano Dreams Volume 2, Cello 1, Amelie and Fröhlich, which means happy.
Oh, your work is so beautiful, Christoph. Thank you for these videos. And now also I want to share an excerpt that you recorded for us from your album Piano Dreams Live 2014. And you shared two songs in there in English. It's The Rebel and Wind in September. They're short. Again, all of these are excerpts that he's recorded, and you can listen to the full recordings of these songs either online, or we'd love to also get these copies to you to send you a bundle of these CDs. So all the CD excerpts that you're hearing today are actually available for sale through my website. If you go to createlikeyou.co, you will see all the information for this collaboration. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this excerpt that he's recorded for us from Piano Dreams Live 2014.
From this CD, I just want to show you two themes. One is the Rebel, der Rebell, and one is Abendwind im September, which means smooth wind in December.
And we're back. Beautiful job. Thank you again, Christoph. And what's a fun memory that you have from recording this album? Because you actually, this was a live recording, and I heard a lot of applause in the background. Who was in the audience that night?
Some people that I know and many other people who bought tickets. Very different audience. I found it myself recently on a video that you find on YouTube. A company made that video, and it's a song Vergangene Zeiten on that album, the first one on the album. And there are people who are closing their eyes, listening, and so on. They went to with the camera, they went through the people also and showed their reactions, and it's nice to see that.
During COVID, during all of these intervals of silence, kind of going back to that, pockets of silence, what was that like for you as a pianist? Did you experience your gigs shutting down and would love to hear your own experience with that. What happened?
It was a catastrophe on one hand because I went down from 150 to 200 gigs a year down to zero, and that like within weeks. So you cannot plan that. You were absolutely shocked, and we doubted that our state would do a lot of support that would be easy to get and so on. But especially with the artist, the artist approach of it was making me worry because I really need to play live. I love to sit in a piano bar and play for 3 hours. I need the feedback from the audience, and in order to keep my number of songs that I know from just from my head, which is about 350 songs that I know without any help, and another 350 with help. I need to play them regularly, and normally I play between 10 and 14 hours a week live, and then it was zero most of the time, so that was not easy for me, and I did not see that I would have an audience for streaming concerts, and so I never tried. Maybe I could have been courageous and trying to start something and 5 people would watch it, but I didn't want to. And so I needed to find other ways. And I offered people to play outside before the houses, in the gardens. I organized some equipment. I even have it here still. I have my own plug and electricity, so I can play whenever I want with my digital piano somewhere, just with my own electricity.
Wow,
and I can play like 4 hours with this little thing. And it's really a neat machine.
That's really handy.
And we did all kinds of things like that. And I was producing a little bit more in the studio. I was trying to think of things that people would get through the internet, through an email, with a PDF, sheet music, all these kind of things. I quite successfully brought my students to the point of doing their lessons online. About 90% of my lessons could happen through online, and it was not cool,
but big transition.
But we found a way.
Yeah, and are you still teaching some of your lessons online, or are they now all back in person?
Yeah, it's really neat. Some people still prefer to stay at home and then do this online, and it's very relaxed sometimes, especially if it works with the technique. By the way, thanks to God that we have great technique up to now today. It's working. My Wi-Fi is working.
I know. We had some technical difficulties before we went on, I know. But you know what's pretty amazing is you wouldn't know that we're speaking from Everett, Washington and Berlin, Germany right now. This is just incredible what technology allows us to do when it works. Thanks for pushing through that with me, Christoph, and figuring that out.
Yeah. Thank you for your patience with all this.
Oh, of course. It takes time. Yeah. You know, I keep thinking about that value for space that you were referring to as Stille. And I wonder if one of the things that I've heard some of the different artists say that I've spoken with is it was like a breath of being able to take a breath in and think about creativity again. There was this rat race of just going, doing all the gigs, performing, using the repertoire. It's almost like a musical gym of keeping repertoire fresh, you know, especially when you have such a large list. But some artists I've talked to have appreciated the breath of fresh air to think and regenerate. That's one side. That's a positive outlook. But then there's the other side where some people just more froze up and got stuck, or they felt like they were on pause. And I mean, if there are still folks that feel like they're stuck from where we came from, you're now doing live gigs in person again, you're touring. What kind of encouragement could you give to some other folks that are experiencing that still?
I think it's always very important to persevere. There is times in our lives when we feel stuck. It is not a question of a virus, it's a question of ourselves. And this virus brought us to the point of reflecting, a point of being stuck by an outer reason. But it can also happen that you have this because of an inner reason, and it's always just so important to go on. My first friend who helped me with faith things always told me, if you feel like the water's being up here and getting up here, then just try to move a little bit to not drown, you know. That's all that counts in the moment, to not drown, to go on in some way. And I'm always thinking about this, what he told me about 20 years ago, because in so many situations in my life, I come to this point of being stuck, either because people stop me, or situations stop me, or I am in my own cage and don't get out. And sometimes I just do not compose for 3 or 4 months. That's okay. There will be times where I will compose 4 tracks in 4 weeks. And sometimes we'll just have to wait and just go on, and then the opportunities will come back and the inner liberty will also come back.
That inner liberty. That'd be a cool song title, Inner Liberty. That would need to be an anthem, right?
If that's a cool English title, then I need to write it down.
Yeah, hey, that's awesome.
You can also, I have a challenge for you. You compose a little 30-second Inner Liberty, and I compose a 30-second Inner Liberty.
Oh, that's a fun idea. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how we would interpret that. Do you want to try?
Yeah, I would. Can you
Sure.
do this well enough? Is that okay for music, not only speech? Inner Liberty, Inner Liberty. Okay, that was my 30 seconds challenge that I made myself.
Very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. You want me to try?
I'd love to hear your Inner Liberty.
Sure. Sure. I'll turn the camera over this way. And although I won't be able to hear it because I'm going to undo my headphones here. Inner Liberty.
Can you hear me again or not?
Yeah, let me get
Not yet.
Sorry.
Can you hear me? Yeah, wonderful.
There you go.
Wow, nice. You did this in B major. It's not a very famous scale for most pianists. I really like that.
Oh, thank you. Here is a quick peek at my website, createlikeyou.co, and this is where you want to go to actually purchase one of these bundles. So if you scroll down on the page toward the very top, you can see both the 4-album and the 6-album bundle here. And also on the same page, there's more about Christoph and his bio, also including some of the video vignettes that I shared during the podcast, and also some more descriptors about the albums that we are including. So if you go up to one of these bundles here, there's actually in each of these a section where you can request a specific autograph from Christoph and me. And we are so very happy to do that for you. If you'd like us to write even a specific autograph with one of these CDs, feel free to specify. There's 500 characters in this box here, so plenty of space to write. And we are so happy to do that for you.
Nice.
Getting back to your story, Christoph, I would love to know, what are you excited for in this next season looking forward? We're talking about coming back. We've some gigs are coming back on the horizon for you. Where are you at with how many gigs are you able to do now, and what are you excited and looking forward to?
I am absolutely excited for the two concerts I have with Sarah Kubana at the end of June. And some weddings I'm gonna have recently, and some semi-concerts where people book me who know my music, and they are gonna have many guests there, but people will probably talk. It's not gonna be a real concert.
Sure.
And I am absolutely looking forward to have a tour to the US and Canada maybe next year. I don't know if this will work out. I've been planning a few times already to do this, but it's really, really hard to organize that logistically, and then from the perspective of costs, because accommodations and travels and trips and getting the same amount of money there in this time that I would earn here with my business, it's not so easy. I think I'm pretty well off as an artist financially, because I have a lot of things that I can earn money with, and I'm eager, and I do a lot of hours of working and playing music and everything every week, but I'm not rich, and I don't have big accounts of the bank where I would say, well, I can take 3 months off. So this is like the main issue why I did not plan a real tour to the US yet.
Well, one of these days, you better believe I'll be there in the audience cheering you on. I remember when I first actually met Donovan Johnson, Kathy Oakes, and Rhonda Mackert at a piano store in Bellevue, Washington here. That was the first I'd ever met any of them. First time I met Rhonda, who's now a dear friend of mine. And I didn't even realize that solo piano concerts were a thing. I didn't know. It's a whole new world. A whole new world.
Years ago. Until a few years ago.
Really? How did you first discover Enlightened Piano Radio and Whisperings Piano Radio?
I don't even know. When you are interested in solo piano music, then you will find someone like George Winston, maybe, and Ludovico Einaudi, which you don't know in the US so much, but in Germany you know him. He's an Italian.
Oh, we know him here.
Okay. In 2008, when I did this first CD that we talked about, Piano Dreams Volume 1, that was the first time, about 2007, where I realized that you can bring people to, what can we call it? Contemporary piano music concerts, and they would actually come. Because from my experience, it was only these classical concerts where there would be a piano concert by Rachmaninoff or an evening with Chopin. Or it would be some kind of pop with a little bit piano in it, but there was not such a thing. And I think through Ludovico Einaudi, this became a possibility here because there were fans of him. And so by this time, you could ask people if you would want to come to a concert of yours with your own compositions of modern stuff and not of whatever. So I think at the moment,
Beethoven.
I think there's a lot of pressure at the moment through Spotify that people make compositions of 3 minutes length. And what I really like is when you have this inner liberty, music as you think it is right. And in my albums, there's always titles that have 5, 6, 8, or even 9 minutes. And the music can develop and it can breathe. And it's not like a pop song with a chorus and some verses, so to say, that have to be very clear and static.
Right. For your recent albums, Christoph, are you pressing them into actual CDs that are for sale as well, or are the new ones only available to stream and to listen online?
I published some singles that are not on albums. The Winter Hike was my latest CD, which has
It's beautiful.
yeah, it's really nice artwork, and also this issue. It's another theme album like Stadtstille, but much shorter. It has only 9 tracks and not 20 like the other one, or 16. So yeah, it's about being outside and enjoying nature and how it changes your inner soul and what you come to think about and all these kind of things. So that was a really, really small printing edition. I have had CDs with 3,000 or with 1,000. This is much, much smaller, but it has become more hard to sell CDs. So many people who I offer a CD to, they tell me, "Oh, I don't know where to play it. My computer has no CD slot anymore. I don't have a CD player at home. My car does not have one, so where can I play it?" And that's really sad, but because I still think that this is a perfect medium to bring artwork across, and almost every of my CDs has a booklet as well. It has more artwork. You can fold it up. You have something in your hand. You get some of my thoughts that I wrote into it. And if you go to Spotify or Apple Music, you will not have that. So I think many more people listen to my music now because through these internet possibilities, it comes to their homes, but they miss other things. And financially, with every CD, I really get money. It's my money that comes to me, and with the streaming, it's not very personal. And I think my best songs are not even the ones that are played most.
Interesting. Yeah. I found that to be true as well, although I have one album out, so I don't have as much material to compare or get data on quite yet. But so for the later albums that you have published since the ones that I have physically here, you have you've published, and this is what I've been able to find on Spotify, an album in 2019 called Studio Live 2019. I saw one called Christmas and Evening in English. And again, what is it?
Weihnachts, which means Christmas, and Abendlieder, and songs for the evening.
And that was 2019 as well. And then 2021 is the album that Christoph was just talking about called A Winter Hike. And I think on that album, particularly Snow is my favorite. I really love, I think that one, it reminds me of my sister Kaylee, and I was thinking that would be a really lovely one that she could play with me.
And you know what? It is track 5 on this older album as well. Snow is there as well. Also, it's a slightly different version. But I took it from this album because it is just necessary on a winter hike. It is exactly this.
Yes, Absolutely.
feeling that I wanted to bring across. So I took it from there to this new album.
Well, there you go. So if you purchase this bundle with the CDs, he was just referring to the Piano Dreams Volume 2, the cello one. Well, Christoph, thank you so much for sharing some time together. And I would be remiss before the end of our time here to also show the CD that I will be adding to his collection, which I can physically autograph for you because I have these CDs with me. So if you place an order and you'd like me to personalize it for you, I'd be more than happy to do that. And also specify for Christoph who you would like him to write a note to. And he will be sending me these handwritten notes and I will be able to include them with your special package to you. So this is a real beautiful opportunity. I don't know how many I can fit in the screen here, but this is a really beautiful opportunity to hold artwork in your hands.
My albums are normally very long. You don't have an album with 10 songs and it has 40 minutes, but you normally have an album with 20 songs, which has almost 80 minutes. And so, and no album fillers. It's all there. It's all really composed and arranged and mastered even by great people who worked for Genesis and I worked from Karajan. And so, yeah, you find a lot of stuff, but basically most of it is piano solo.
Well, I feel honored just being able to hold this work on my desk here, and would love to have you be able to connect with my friends and family. So I'll, of course, include his website in the link in the show notes. And if you're interested to follow him on Facebook, he has a link there to his Facebook page. Or if you'd like to follow him on Instagram, he's at Christoph Pagel. And you spell his last name Pagel. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today, or something else that came to your mind part of our conversation?
Well, just that I'm a big fan of you and I like to really hear you playing. I normally don't have the time to listen to a whole show of yours on Thursday evenings, but sometimes I listen to parts of that later, and also I would be sleeping at that time, but 9 hours ahead. Well, anyway, but the way you played, so especially songs that I play myself as a bar pianist, it's always so interesting to hear you play them in your approach. And so that's my big hope. I pray to God that we'll be on stage one day together and then we can play separate and then together a little bit, and that'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to do some duets. Well, Christoph, it was such a pleasure to be able to introduce you to my Create Like You podcast family, to hear some of your backstory. And thank you also for including that encouragement to consider when you're stuck, and that there's hope. And something else I wanted to add to that, there's hope in just taking the next breath. And that sometimes that's what we need to do, is to just seek a little extra space. And we expect that we need a year to recover and all this. But, there's a lot of value in creating space with just maybe a pocket of 5 minutes of time, or maybe 10, and just to breathe, think, maybe reconnect with goals or vision that you have, and allow your creativity to take you maybe somewhere that you're not expecting. Maybe there are ways that your heart, that the Lord wants to lead you to create that you haven't before. And I'd encourage you to be open to that, and also to find community, just like Christoph mentioned with his professor, Dr. Franz Reimer, who pulled the gold out of him, and who encouraged him and gave him what he needed to continue to develop those gifts that he has. And now he's duplicating that, and he's teaching his own students to do the same. What a beautiful legacy, to be able to think about how to help each other, and to encourage that creativity and that unique design that each of us have. And I always love to end with just saying, I hope that you are encouraged, friend, whether you're watching this podcast or you're listening to it, to think about how you are uniquely designed. There's only one like you in the world. I hope that you never compare yourself with any other artist in your field or in any other field, but that you're inspired to think about how you can more deeply delve into how you are created and how you can release and share that. So Christoph, thank you so much for joining me, and Create Like You family, thanks for joining us. It was such a pleasure to introduce you to my friend and gifted pianist and composer, Christoph Pagel, all the way from Berlin, Germany, over here to Seattle, Washington. Such a pleasure, my friend. And to purchase the special bundle that we have available for you, you want to go to createlikeyou.co, and I will have all of those links for you in the show notes. God bless everyone. We'll see you next time. What are you sipping on tonight?
It's Apfelschorle, which means apple juice with sparkling water.
Ah, very
It's
nice.
like cider, but you make it yourself. You know, you make a portion of apple juice and then a portion of mineral water.